Hey, welcome back to the channel. I've got a few things I want to do, basically to kind of get set up for some work I might do tomorrow. I'm hoping I get an opportunity to come to the shop tomorrow and do some work, but I've been wanting to get these nose ribs all worked out, and so I've got my quarter inch nose ribs here. I have my 1/8 inch ones here. There are 8 of these. And 4 of these guys. And then it takes some 1/4 inch material, and basically this is going to get attached to the rib like this. It'll get epoxied in place, and it gets epoxied so that the rib itself is in on the inboard side. And then this 1/4 inch piece is actually going to be in alignment, so it's going to actually go on this side, like this. So and it'll just get epoxied and stapled just like that. Get that all aligned. I'll make sure it's nice and square. And then what happens is this 1/4 inch piece aligns with the rib. So basically the 1/8 inch is to the inboard side of the rib. And then at 3 locations, because we have those where the leading edge plywood butt joints together, two of the 1/4 inch ones are for the tip and the root. We get epoxy to the inside of those. And then the other 2 go at the locations, rib 4 and rib 7, where the plywood on the leading edge actually butt joints together. And so what you basically end up doing is when you want to get this assembled, this actually gets, you remove a 1/4 inch here and here, and then this gets epoxied like that, if you can imagine it. Basically, after you remove the 1/4 inch, it gets epoxied in there, and then you basically end up with 3/8 wide space for that plywood to attach to, so that gives you plenty of room to move around. So yeah, so I'm gonna get set up with what I need to do. Obviously, the tip is not a problem because there's nothing there, so that one's real easy. I'll show you here. I'll start with the rib since I'm already here. This one has to have a little bit removed from the top portion. The bottom, of course, will fit right in there. But up top, we've got to remove this 1/8 of an inch from here so that we can get this up where it needs to go. And then down here, it just fits right in there. Fits right in there because there's nothing in the way. So, and I think my spar may have been, like, most of my ribs are aligning like really well up here, but in a couple spots my spar might be about 1/16 of an inch, maybe a little thicker than it should be, which I can actually sand down a little, but it's probably not even going to be a problem because I have some locations where it's actually right where it should be, and then a couple other locations where it's not. But when I sight the spar, it actually looks too good to mess with. So what my intent is to actually move this piece until it aligns to the top edge of my spar, and it still seems to fit really nice here. And by doing that, I may have like a 1/16 of an inch to fill a little bit on the bottom, but that's not a problem because I don't know if you can see this, but this actually has a flat spot in it that runs about right here, and that'll just be a great spot to just lay in a piece of a 1/16 inch plywood or something, and then just sand it and feather it in to the rest of the rib here. I can deal with that after I flip the wing over. So you're building you're building something custom, and so everything is basically made to fit. And the part of the challenge is you know, you don't want to stress yourself out when something like this happens where it might be off just a little bit, because there's always a way to solve it. So all you have to do is just think about that, figure it out, decide how you want to work through it, and keep moving forward. So that is definitely the key. So what I'm going to do is for tonight, I just want to get these set up. So I'm going to take the ones that need to have the quarter inch ones that need material removed from them. I'm going to take the 1/4 inch off the back side, and that way I can epoxy it to the other one, so that when I do come in and I'm ready to attach these, I can just get the epoxy mixed and get all these in place. So yeah, so let's do that. So much easier to just do it than talk about it, but I'll get to it here. All right, so what I've done is flip the wing over. See, I turned it upside down. I decided it's going to be easier for me to work on this leading edge this way, because I have a plan for how I want to do it, and I'll show you that plan. So for this one here, I put the ribbon here. The first thing I did is I put it in. Actually, I put it right up against this edge, marked the back side, so that I could get a cut line to make up that difference. So I already cut it so that it fits to there. And then the next thing I did is I put it up against, I started doing this and then I decided I should show it to you. So I put it up against here. I went on the other side and I made a mark of what needed to be relieved in order for the aluminum bracket to fit through, and so that's what that is. And so now I'm just in the process of taking my fan saw and just cutting this section out so that I know I have good clearance for the strap that goes here. And the tip rib requires nothing. It's all set to go. There's nothing to relieve, so it just goes on, and that'll get epoxied in place, stapled from the outside. Same here. This will get epoxied in place, stapled from the outside, like that, and then I'll start prepping these ribs that go in between, and then then we'll go to the next step. Yesterday I started to prep them, and I decided to actually just to wait until today, because I came up with a different plan while I was thinking about it. So we'll just we'll continue on here. All right. You can see I've left just enough material here so that the spacing from the spar can be maintained. So now I'll flip you around here. I'll test the fit of that. So that should fit just about there. And then I just want to make sure we got proper clearance down here for that strap. So let me grab one. anyone will do. And yes, indeed, I have about a 1/16 of an inch of clearance, so puts me in really good shape. So now we can move on to the next thing. Alright, so I want to make sure you see as much of this as you can. So what I'm doing now is for the number 4 and the number 7 rib, where we end up doubling up with the 1/8 inch material, we add the 1/4 inch. I'm just using one of the plywood pieces that are going to be attached to the 1/8 inch pieces here, and just making a couple marks on my 1/4 inch pieces, because what will happen is these will end up sitting on top of here. So if I make my marks, and when I cut these sections off, if I leave my line, it should be good. We'll see. So now that I've made my cuts, I actually took one and I just dry stapled it for now, just so I could test this and make sure. So now that I've made my cut, this is going to end up going just like this and doubling this up. And what I want to make sure is that when that's up against that, everything is a nice tidy fit. And it sure seems to be. So that seems really good, actually. Maybe it's off by I'm just comparing it right here. I don't know if you can see that, but well, I guess I have to show it to you first. There's just a little lip there where it may be off. Maybe needs to drop just a touch more, so I'll just make a line and I'll just hit that with the sander real quick and see if we get a little better fit. The reason I always make a line when I do this is because if you don't, then you lose track of where your edge is, so you don't really know what you're sanding away. Or if I can get a line right on the edge, then I have a you can see my lines on the edge. Then I've got a reference point, so I can't. I know as soon as that line's gone, then I've taken away a line width, and then we will check it again. Alright, so after I sanded that off, the lip's gone, and it's a perfect fit. So, yeah. Now we'll do the other one to get ready for all this. Alright, we're good. So, now we can get ready to go to the next phase here. So I'll bring these two over here. And what I've got set up here is just using my my Plein as a weight here, because all I want to do is use that to set my piece on here. Just set the piece there, and then since these all get positioned like this when they're on the wing, that means I just want to make a quick peek at the plan just to make sure I'm just double check. I know I've looked at this 100 times, but I'm gonna check anyway. All right, so the ply should be toward the root rib, and the
1/4" piece that adds extra gluing area there actually goes in line with the rib. And then I just wanted to make sure on the number 4 and 7. Yeah, it's the same way. Alright, so we'll get these going here. Just spread a little epoxy here, a little bit here. In there. All right. Okay, now that I've got that done, now I have to add, I've got to add the 2 pieces here, the 2 pieces for that double up that number 4 and that number 7. So I'm going to get these kind of situated, get some epoxy on here, and then get these attached. Make sure they're all good and staple those in place. So, all right, so both surfaces, and then we get that attached. All right, so the next step is to get these epoxied in place. So I'm going to get what I need, which is epoxy. And first I'll make a mark on here with my pencil as soon as I find it. My pencil's MIA, so I can't seem to locate it at the moment. So I'm just going to use my pen here. All right, and that's where I want that to go. So I just need to know what needs epoxy, like that. And now I'll go do the root real quick. All right, should have enough epoxy to do this one, so I'll get this one going here. All right, so I've got those both in place. You can see this one right here, and then if we go down here, I've got the root one right there. And so what my plan is here is I'm going to actually take the piece of RS4 that goes along the whole leading edge, and I'm going to cut that to 139 inches, just like pretty much every other reference that has to do with the length of the wing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that in place. I've got it right here. So I'm going to slip that in place. And then I'm going to take the ribs in between, and when I clamp those in place, I'll be able to use. I'm going to run a string line down. I'm going to run a string line down the leading edge here from tip to tip, and then that will actually allow me to get this. When I add each of these, I'll be able to make sure that they are indeed keeping this perfectly straight. So, and I think that will be my guide on how they get adjusted up and down here to meet that. So, yeah, and then once I get this one held in place, I just want to check and make sure that both of my ends are still square. So, which really means that my piece, my 139-inch piece, is not too long, and it's flaring those out. So I'm just going to grab a clamp here. Okay. Take my ruler here. That one is definitely not flaring out. Okay, so the root actually is flaring out, so I'm gonna have to. This one is nice and square. The root actually is coming out like this. I don't know if you can see that, but so I took 1/8 of an inch off of that, and we'll see how what kind of a difference that made. right, now I can test that again. See how we're doing. Still just a little bit off, so gonna have to take just a touch more. Check this in. That one looks good. All right, that's right on. So next step is to get my string line out, and I'll kind of staple it back here somewhere and pull it around the front, center it up, and then it'll allow me to come in and when I put these in, I've got square lines here, so then I'll be able to position these, get them lined up vertically, and make sure they're square this way. And I'll probably figure out a way to clamp or something so that the front doesn't move around when it gets square. And then we'll be in a good position to get these installed. So your number 10 rib, your number 1 rib, do not get them. So it's only the tip, the root, and then two all the way through. And then these junctions, of course, number 4 and number 7 is where this arrangement goes here. And I should probably make sure I can get comfortably get in here and get my staples out, which it looks like I can without any trouble. I'll be able to get all those out. The plans actually suggest that you use nails to put these in. I'm just not a fan of that, so I'm always trying to find another method of working around that. So that's what's going on in my brain right now. What clamping method am I going to use? This one works, but it's not that great. If I had some long reach clamps, that would be much better. There may be some. I'm going to go take a look. But first, I'll get my string line set up, and then we'll be able to go from there. So. Okay, so what I've decided is Harbor Freight is not far from me, so I'm actually going to take a break, maybe get a bite to eat, go to Harbor Freight, grab some long-range clamps, which I probably should have done already by now, and then I'll be back.